Welcome to the Recovery Cast, brought to you by Hills and Ranges Private.
Well, hello there. Welcome back to the Hills and Ranges Private Recovery Cast. My name's Oliver and I'm an addict. And today we've got a action-packed episode ahead. So basically, I'm going to start with the AA Daily Reflection. And today's date for this episode is October the 13th. And the Daily Reflection is Unremitting Inventories. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, and resentment and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 84. The immediate admission of wrong thoughts or actions is a tough task for most human beings, but for recovering alcoholics, like me, it is difficult because of my propensity toward ego, fear, and pride. The freedom the AA program offers me becomes more abundant when, through unremitting inventories of myself, I admit, acknowledge, and accept responsibility for my wrongdoing. It is possible for me to grow into a deeper and better understanding of humility. My willingness to admit the fault is mine facilitates the progression of my growth and helps me to become more understanding and helpful to others. Really interesting reading, that one. I mean, I could just spend the entire episode, talking about this. So, look, I think this reading for me, it comes down to how willing I am to do the right thing. So, when I'm going throughout my day, my default state is to be a little bit selfish, maybe tell a few lies, even when I don't have to, and also to be a little bit resentful of other people. Through my recovery, I actually have a little bit of awareness of these things now. I think when I was using, that was my default state, and I was like that, and I had no idea that I was like that. But now I think, I can at least have a little bit of awareness of, yes, I'm actually being selfish. So that comes up in everyday life. For example, I'm going out to or getting takeaway dinner with my girlfriend or something like that, and she offers to pay, and she doesn't have to offer twice. I'll say, yeah, sure, you pay. Or lying. I don't know. Sometimes I think this is just ingrained in me that sometimes I just lie almost for the hell of it. To avoid being judged or to avoid being abandoned, perhaps. I might tell a white lie here and there, even when it doesn't matter. And of course, resentment. Somebody cuts in front of me in traffic, or somebody's kicking goals in their life and doing really well, and I feel a little bit jealous, and I think, oh, how dare they do that? I don't like them. Nowadays, I'm aware of these things, and I ask, a higher power for those, really negative and harmful traits to be removed. And, I have to remember that they're actually not just harmful to me, they're harmful to other people as well. And, as I said before, it comes down to actually how willing we are to do the right thing. It's confronting, as it says in the reading, it's confronting and it's very uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable it's almost like standing at the face of a cliff looking down into the ocean, and you have to take that big leap to say, hey, no, honey, I'll get the check. Or actually, what am I even saying? I wasn't doing this, I was doing this. I'm telling you a lie. or resentment to be like, okay, well, that person's doing their life and that's them. It's nothing to do with me, and what can I do to better my own life? It's a relief when I actually make that decision in my day to do the right thing, because ultimately I'm willing to do whatever it takes for my recovery. I've got a couple of stories to tell you quickly about how that worked for me, and how it seemed that, perhaps the universe or karma or whatever you want to call it, my higher power, rewarded me for making those decisions. This was quite early in my early recovery. I was still smoking cigarettes at the time, and I was in the city for whatever reason, and there was just someone who was a bit down on their luck. They looked like they were homeless perhaps, and they were in the street, and they asked me, "Oh, excuse me, can I have a cigarette?" And I was down to my last couple of cigarettes, and I thought, I was in early recovery, I wasn't working, buying a packet of cigarettes was quite a difficult task for me. And I thought, no. And I said, look, sorry, I've only got a couple left, and I kept walking. And some words that my sponsor that I had at the time came into my head, and I thought, look, it's one cigarette, and that might make a difference in that person's day. It means nothing to me. I have a warm bed to sleep in and a roof over my head. It's not a big deal. So I was 20 meters away at that point. I turned around, I went back to this guy and I said, hey, look, I'm sorry about that. Sometimes I'm a bit selfish. And I gave him a cigarette. And he said, oh, do you have a lighter? And it just so happened that I had two. So I said, what colour do you want? Blue or green? And I offered him either one of the lighters he could choose, and he said green. So I gave it to him, and he lit his cigarette. That was it. And I said, have a good day, man. And I turned around and I kept walking up the street. And not 50 metres later, I found a full packet of cigarettes on the ground. It's uncanny how the coincidence and just the karmic energy of the universe works. It's not always even like that. Sometimes there's no reward, but the reward is inside. Another one, I was at one of those car washes where you put coins in and you can wash your car with a broom and a hose and all that stuff. And I was waiting in line, and there was somebody else. There was a lady in another car that was waiting in line, and she'd been there before me, and she was in the bay next to me waiting to go and wash her car. And I arrived, and then 15 seconds later, the car in front of me that was washing their car pulled out of the bay and drove away, and I drove in, and she beeped her horn, and I looked over at her and I sort of thought, what's going on? I pulled into this bay, they just happened to finish first. I got out of my car and I was starting to wash my car, and she came over and said, hey, I was here first. And it was my understanding at the time that it's sort of, you pull up and choose a bay, and it's luck of the draw. And she called me a selfish dick, and I was so angry. I was about to spray her with the hose, like no joke. And it shook me. Sometimes little things, especially with my my sort of control, how dare somebody else judge me, made my blood boil. And it was a car wash that I sort of go to, once every couple of weeks, and I was friendly with the attendant, and I went and told him what was going on, and he said, oh, we don't usually like people reversing back to let other people in first. It's where sort of, little bingles happen, someone reverses into someone else, or it's just, it's just a mess. It's not a big deal waiting another, couple of minutes. And he said, look, for your trouble, have this bag of car wash tokens. And he gave me, like $20 worth of car wash tokens. And I looked at these car wash tokens in my hand, and I thought, what can I do? What can I do to help, this woman who's quite frankly been wronged by my actions? I thought this might be a hard pill to swallow, so to speak. And I took half the car wash tokens and I went up to her, and she was washing her car by then. And I said, look, I'm sorry, And I said, look, have these for next time. And I gave her half the car wash tokens. And, she wasn't particularly grateful, but I literally, it felt like I'd taken a backpack full of bricks off my back, and I was able to go about the rest of my day just feeling a little bit lighter, and that makes all the difference for me in my recovery, because I can quite honestly, dig myself a very deep hole that is very difficult to get out of, and I might have to, ring my sponsor or meditate or go to heaps of meetings to feel better from, and that can just be avoided by, even if it's not, it's not the crime of the century cutting in front of someone in the car wash. I was just able to quickly and easily resolve the situation inside myself and for the other person. So there you go. It's like the pay it forward movement. Just do something nice for someone else without expectation of any returns for yourself. I guarantee it, even if you just do something very, very small like that it does work. And there have been countless times in my recovery where that has served me really well. So I think for the rest of our episode today, we might talk about something else. Stay tuned for a little bit of chat about hobbies and routines and how they can help us.
You're listening to the Recovery Cast, brought to you by Hills and Ranges Private. Like what you hear? Then visit us at www.rehab.melbourne for more shows.
That's right. Thanks to Hills and Ranges Private yet again. So anyway, hobbies and routine. This is something that's really important to me. Really, really important. And in my recovery, I came out of treatment, and I sort of felt like I didn't really have very much to do. All of my entire lifestyle of getting and using and all that stuff was ripped away from me. The party scene was a no-go. As a semi-professional musician, I'd sort of burned a lot of those bridges professionally and didn't want to be in the clubs and bars anyway, because I was absolutely sick of it, to be honest. So that brought me to the question of, what do I do? And when I was in treatment, there was all those discharge plans that, we wrote out and we had to complete. What are we going to do? And I sort of had, I'm going to go to the pool and swim laps and make dinner, go for a walk, go to an NA meeting. And, my days seemed to be pretty empty. So what did I do? I thought about hobbies, and, for me, I had to actually find new hobbies. Working on cars was one of the things that I found was sort of just a way to get out of myself and fill my day with something that was, not a negative act. I bought a car with an engine, and I put the engine from that car into my car and upgraded it to a turbo engine, and it took a month, and every day that I was doing that, I was learning a skill and connecting with other people through asking them how to do certain things, and hey, can you come over and help me with this? And I made friendships that weren't centered around, using or, alcohol and drugs. And fast forward, nearly 4 years of my recovery, I actually do track days in that car. You know, I'm involved in a car club. People come to me for advice around that particular model of car. They say, hey, how do I do this, or what parts should I buy? And, you know, I've travelled to New South Wales for car shows and spent thousands of dollars on my car, you know, that didn't, you know, it's so much better than spending money on using and, you know, all that stuff. So that's one sort of thing, is that, if, you know, even if you're not particularly, you know, I was sort of vaguely into cars and I thought it was cool, but I actually had to take a step, and it was only one step at a time. You know, that's what this recovery thing's all about, is it's one day at a time, one step at a time. Try something new. Whether it means you, I don't know, purchase a musical instrument, commit to taking some lessons, or could be anything really. Get some paintbrushes and do a couple of paintings. Take up a new sport. Who would have thought that on Saturdays or something, you know, going and playing basketball with a bunch of mates, you know, it could be something that really changes your life. And that's just one hobby. You can have more, you know. The world's your oyster. For me, it's not just cars, although cars take up a lot. It's music. I actually explore stormwater drains. I'm a probationary member of the Cave Clan. What else do I do? I like cooking. I actually have a lot of houseplants at the moment. You know, choosing pots and potting mix and repotting plants and watering, and it's a lot. And you know, you're rewarded with the fact that your house is full of really nice green plants, and it just makes your house nicer and you feel better. It's another one. Think about it, what works for you. Pretty amazing what we can achieve if we just put our minds to it and do one little thing, make one little step. Very quickly, those things we do, they add up, and our recovery can very quickly become filled with awesome, wonderful things. How amazing, you know? So, thanks for joining me again. I hope you get to think about that, and maybe you can go out and just make the choice that you're going to do one nice thing for someone, even if it's a family member or someone on the phone. Ask them how their day is going. Maybe just do something for yourself that you like as well. Draw a picture, listen to your favourite song. You know, I guarantee it'll make you feel good. That's what it's all about, you know.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Cast. For more, visit us at www.rehab.melbourne.